In one way or another, we have given away our power to co-create the very systems that we know are not working for us, right? When we buy into these systems, when we give, our fear and our power away to these systems, when we try to convince ourselves that the only way to have a say, the only way to do anything is to play the game, is to be part of these systems, we co-create them. Our energy, our attention, our focus co-creates the very systems that we know are not in alignment with our true reality, with our truth, which is love, which is oneness. These systems are based on duality. They're based on fear. They're based on lack and limitation. They're based on very limited concepts that have run rampant, for centuries and centuries and centuries in all of human existence. But we have to understand that we exist in so many more realms than the physical. If you guys have been taking the creation container, you know what I'm about to say. But we exist in 7 dimensions all at the same time. We exist in this physical, but we exist all the way up to the causal dimension, at the very top, which is closest to source. And again, 7, we know that 7 is a divine number. We also know that there are 7 energy centers, or 7 wheels, or 7 chakras that help us move through life on many different levels, not just in the physical dimension, but also these different energy centers help us move through these 7 dimensions as well. And so from those higher dimensions, from the causal, from the celestial, from the higher astral, from the etheric template, from all these other higher dimensions, there are higher degrees of not just oneness, but also higher degrees of limitlessness. And so we know we're here in the physical. Look around you. Maybe there's 4 walls, or maybe you're outside like me and you're seeing the colors and you see the, the solidness, the denseness of this reality. But if you're tapped into this video, then you know that there's something bigger than this, right? It's something a lot bigger, something a lot more grand. And we experience this more grand, or quote unquote bigger reality every time we go to sleep, right? We don't essentially leave our body, but our conscious awareness allows us to travel through, or inhabit rather, the light body that allows us to play in these higher realms. So then we can understand that if we have access to not just this physical dimension, but we all have access to all 7 dimensions. It doesn't matter how, spiritually evolved or not that you think that you are. We're all on the same level, experiencing different challenges at different times. But we all have access because we all exist at all 7 at once. Now, how can we actually consciously access the realms that are beyond our current perception? Well, we do this through the higher self. We do this through the Ori. We know that the Ori does not just exist in this physical dimension. We are an aspect of our spirit. Again, like how I've said before, and like how many teachers have said before as well, the body does not hold the spirit holds the body. And so even just from that statement, we can understand that our spirit is a lot more vast and exists in many other places than we think, than just in the physical reality. And so we begin to access our Ori and our higher self through entering the light body, through entering the Anahata, through the heart chakra. And we enter the heart chakra and we move through that beautiful energy of the heart chakra by coming into a space of radical acceptance of our current situation. And then through that radical acceptance, only will things be able to change. And so what does that mean in regards to everything that I'm saying in this video? I'm saying a lot. What does that mean, right? Well, that means that we have to understand that hopelessness is not an option. That means that we have to understand that, being distraught and just staying in fear and staying in this state of, oh my gosh, everything is so terrible, that is not an option. We must come to a state of complete and total acceptance of our current reality, not from a space of subordination or not from a space of disempowerment, but we have to come to a space of complete and total acceptance of our reality because we know that we have reincarnated to this space for specific reasons. Your purpose is a solution to someone else's problem, but also your purpose is also the solution to the collective imbalances that we're currently experiencing. And so when we come into this state of radical acceptance, this is what's happening. this political climate, right? All the things that we're seeing right now in the news or whatever the case, wherever you live on the earth, come to a state of complete and total acceptance. This is what we got. This is what we signed up for. This is where we're at right now. I completely and totally accept this. And I also accept my mission. I also accept my purpose. I also accept that I am the solution to the problem that I'm looking at. See, the whole world works in balance. This whole universe works in balance. And so there is never a problem that's in front of us that does not have its counterpart, that does not have a solution. If I stop recording, I'm just letting you know it might rain. Can you see that? Anywho. And so how do we start getting to that space? Ooh, beautiful things in the clouds right now. How do we start getting to that space of, walking in our purpose, of walking in our mission, of doing the things that we came here to do, of being that solution? We get into that space through contacting and being in communion with the higher self. And again, this is the missing element. This is the missing piece to everything, right? Our higher self has the blueprint, not just for our own reality, the dream timeline, the things that you desire, whatever the case is, if it's really in alignment with your heart, your higher self has the blueprint for exactly how you're going to get into alignment with those things. But your higher self also has the blueprint for the collective dream timeline, for oneness, for unity, for love, again, to be the central themes of our reality experience on this earth, on this plane. Your higher self is tapped in because your higher self exists in an aspect in the physical through you, through your interpretation of it, through your relationship with it, but also the higher self exists on all 7 dimensions because it is the oversoul. It is the complete and total aspect of you. It has no personality. It has no ego. It lives within the spirit. Therefore, it is not confined by any idea of limitation, and therefore it's also not confined by any idea of time or any idea of choice, any idea of duality. It simply exists in its totality as one, as all, right? Knowing that it is piece of the all, it is piece of the source, it is a piece of the source, and in that piece, all of the source exists, right? So how do we get in contact with this higher self? How do we align with this version of ourselves? Well, it's going to take a lot of recentering. Okay, and I know that may sound like kind of scary, right? Like, oh my gosh, like now I'm already doing the meditation, Elizabeth, I'm doing the yoga. You want me to add another element to this? It's actually a lot easier than you think. Getting back in tune with yourself doesn't involve some, huge ritualistic process. Getting back in tune with yourself involves removing all the layers that keep you away from you. Similarly to your intuition versus your anxiety, your intuition is a statement, your anxiety is a question. And similarly to that, right, that question just goes on, and it has these layers, and you're having anxiety about one thing, and then it adds something else, and it adds something else, and it's questioning. It's like this hamster wheel of just continuing to go, right? And every question, every piece of that anxiety pulls you away from yourself, but your intuition is centered. Your intuition says that statement, and there's nothing left to say. And that's a similar process of how we move back into alignment with our higher selves, is coming back to the truth of who we are, coming back to the truth of our being, coming back to the truth of what is real, being able to slow down enough to take away the layers, to take away the limitations, and to be able to act from that space of limitlessness in which our higher self exists. And that will be the way that we begin to create a fully limitless reality. But we pull ourselves away from the higher self by listening to other people's opinions and the way that other people, say that we should do things and say that we should be, and these are the choices, and this is it, and this is that. Let me tell you something. A lot of us came here with the blueprint for limitlessness. If you're listening to this video, if this video has found you, then you probably have also came here with the blueprint for limitlessness. You came here with the blueprint of new earth, of a reality that, many people fantasize about, and many people, oh, wouldn't it be so great to eat fruit naked all day and just, frolic around? Many of us came with the blueprint of how to create that. Those are not just dreams, those are prophecies from source. I know you guys have heard me say that before, but I'll say it again. Those visions are prophecies from source. They're not just thoughts. They're not just small frivolous things to, push away as soon as it comes. Many of us receive those visions because we are meant to help to create these things in this reality. But again, we pull ourselves away from ourselves by no longer responding to that vision, by deciding I'm going to live this way and I'm going to create this way and that's going to be it. And that's the end of the story. Then all of a sudden, that vision just becomes a memory because you're no longer interacting with it. You're no longer co-creating with that energy of limitlessness. And so we come back into alignment with our higher selves by acknowledging our truth, by acknowledging who we really are, and by acknowledging who we've always been before we started to place other labels and other things, on our personality structure that, again, just bring us farther and farther away from ourselves. The higher self is the missing piece. The higher self is the missing piece. And you can see this, not just in this video, right? Look at so many other spiritual technologies, whether it is Ifa, which is what I practice, which is thousands and thousands of years old. You can look at Buddhism, you can look at all these other practices. They mention this concept, and they mention this concept because there is an essential guiding force that truly represents the totality of the aspect of us that is fully in alignment with source. And this aspect of us, this higher self, we are all the higher self. We are all the higher self, but this aspect of us that has no filter, that has no separation, that has no limitation from source, it is, yes, in existence right now, but in general, it's something that we can all access and fully embody to then create limitless change in our reality, limitless transformation in our reality. But we have to be able to recenter. We have to be able to refocus our attention and our awareness back to the truth of our being. There's so many things that are happening in the world. So many distractions. Thank the distraction. Thank the distraction when it comes up. Thank it. Fully thank it. Be very, very, very grateful for it. This is what we signed up for. Again, we're coming into that space of full radical acceptance of our current situation, knowing that, again, we are part of the solution to any imbalance that we're seeing. Think the distraction as it comes up. Think the challenge as it comes up. And know that any challenge that you're presented with is an initiation into your next unfolding. Understand that this is all part of your soul evolution. But that key of who you are when you know no limitations, that key of who you are when you are not separate from source, that is your higher self. That is you. That is the true you. And that is the version of you that has already existed in all the beautiful, limitless realities that you've experienced. So, I'm starting a challenge, First Contact. It is a challenge, a portal, a container of contacting your higher self every day through automatic writing and through meditation that I'm going to take you through. And this is not just for people who really want to get back in contact, but this is for people who really want to create their dream timeline. And there's going to be processes and explanations and guidance every single day on how to do that. So if you want to join us, there's going to be a link below of where to sign up for, it's going to be 50% off your first 48 hours that I open it up. So if you're interested in that, join us. And other than that, happy creating. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.